We are tonight going to talk about 10 ways to supercharge our lives, to bring our lives to a new level of success, achievement, and prosperity, happiness, and serving the Lord. So first of all, I want to talk about the fact that really the study, there we go. As a backdrop, as a background, what we are discussing tonight is how we obtain wisdom, first and foremost, of course, from the Bible, but also these ideas should be considered wise, and if they need to be corrected, certainly we will discuss that. But wisdom, the definition of wisdom is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment, the quality of being wise. So we are seeking together to gain a new level of wisdom. So the second point I want to make, I am standing here next to my beautiful wife, Alana, who is truly a 10X girl. We went to Miami last week, actually, with our younger guys from our office and had a fabulous time. Second point I want to make is that the principles and ideas I am going to expound upon tonight don't necessarily have to do with accumulating wealth, accumulating money. In business, they can be applied to all areas of our lives. My wife, Alana, is an amazing Christian woman, an amazing quote-unquote 10X lady who really, other than getting the bills paid and making sure there is food in the cupboard, doesn't care about money and achievement along those lines, but she uses these principles in a very dramatic way to serve the Lord, build her precepts ministry, and be an amazing mother. So these principles today are, without question, can be applied to many areas, all areas of our lives. A few just as a backdrop to understand where many Americans are today. It is rather, and certainly we're in a more affluent area of the world, and many of us are doing very well in many respects, financially and otherwise, but 64% of business in the United States today either break even or lose money. Only 4% of companies in the U.S. gross more than $1 million on average annually. Average American makes $58,000 a year. 30% of American renters pay over 80% of their income for rent. Average 25 to 49-year-old in the U.S. watches 4.7 hours of TV per day. I shared this stat last year. Average CEO, however, reads 56 books a year. 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. People on average read less than one nonfiction book per year, and 95% of people are at age 65 are dead, broke, or still working. So that's one of the reasons why I think material like this is appropriate, is helpful in many instances, so that we can raise our game, whether it be in the church or in our businesses, etc., in light of many of the current trends and statistics. I think one point I want to make is that, and this is a preamble or a introduction to, prior to talking about the 10 points, is that I think it's very important to have the right attitude toward success. If any of us hate that rich guy and just automatically think he's greedy and we haven't even met him, or we resent the great athlete, or we resent the beautiful woman who is a model, that's just the wrong attitude, and you're never going to be that. You're never going to be that rich guy. You're never going to have that big business if you have an attitude of hatred or animosity toward that individual. I think it's very important to have the right attitude toward these individuals who may be more successful than you right now today, and this is simply just a point in time, but and also I think it's important to remember that where we are financially or otherwise is simply a direct result of the value we're bringing to the marketplace. Okay, it's the value that I see my good friend Mark Sukup is here, who is a star at Wells Fargo, and he has the corner office, and he wins the awards year after year after year. It's the value he's bringing into the marketplace. Nothing's luck. It didn't just happen, but it's simply value. So my own personal journey has been long, arduous, difficult situations in business, certainly where we've had foreclosures, we have had nasty lawsuits, we have had our ups and downs, we have had situations where my wife several years ago literally had to go to work to help put food on the table. So I've now emerged into greener pastures, but it's important to realize that there are certainly the vicissitudes of the marketplace, the ups and downs, and these levels of success do not just happen necessarily overnight. Also, I wanted to point out as a preliminary point that we as Christians need to realize that really a reason to succeed, a reason to better ourselves is because there are truly dire needs in our midst, such as helping the poor, putting our kids through college, donating to Youth with a Mission. There's several people here tonight from Youth with a Mission, which is an amazing 501c3 cause and outreach, evangelistic outreach here. The Franklin Graham Northeast Crusade, he's coming in May. These are, it takes him $700,000 just for each of his stops. These are very, very legitimate and important ministries and outreaches, and there is a need for each of us to be productive and to be in a position, hopefully, to write big checks to help these extremely important outreaches or entities. And I think also, as a preliminary comment, it's really important that we seek to discard the poverty mindset that often plagues Christendom here in America and embrace an abundance mentality for God's glory, not our own, of course. As both leaders and lay people, we need to applaud initiative, creativity, achievement, risk-taking, and condemn slothfulness, irresponsibility, idleness, watching 4.7 hours of TV per day, or being addicted to Xbox or other video games, and also condemn not using our gifts and talents to their fullest, to the maximum potential. We all have different gifts, talents, and abilities, but the Lord wants each of us to use those gifts, talents, and abilities for His glory to the utmost. Not a little bit, not halfway, not 50%, but to the utmost. Which leads me to Matthew 25, 28 through 30. And these are the words right from Jesus' mouth. They seem harsh, potentially. You can interpret them that way. So take the talent from him and give it to this. Goes through the talents with the 1 and the 3 and the 5 talents. And the individual who got the 1 talent buried it because he was fearful of his master. Jesus says, so take the talent from him and give it to the other who has the 10 talents. For everyone who has will be given more, and will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into utter darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So we are not doing a biblical full expose or full interpretation tonight, but it's, on face value, this implies Jesus' words that if those who do not use their talents to their utmost, and again, there are different varying levels of talents that people receive, are cast out. And that is truly a unacceptable and not to be applauded situation directly from the Lord. David Goggins, former Navy SEAL who spoke at the 10X conference down in Miami, stated, I didn't come this far to just come this far. So each of us in this room tonight, assuming the Lord gives us more time on this earth, didn't come this far just to come this far. Okay, we don't want to be the same person. In 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, we want to use and maximize our gifts and talents to the fullest for God's glory. So, first point in how to supercharge our life, be a Christian, obey the Lord in all ways, including having impeccable integrity. Deuteronomy 8:18, but to remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors as it is today. Okay, we're not apologizing and we're not feeling badly if we are achieving, doing well. Okay, that's good. It's a good thing. Okay, to make money and to do well. That's one area. There's other areas like ministry. James Gerard in the back is doing an amazing job with the youth. He is using his gifts and talents in an incredible way. We've been going to the church for 12 or 13 years, James, and you have just been doing an incredible job. You're using your gifts and talents. Jeremiah 29:11-13, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. That's in the Bible. That is his plan for each of us in this room, to give us a hope and a future. C.S. Lewis said, God cannot give us peace and happiness apart from himself because it is not there. There is no such thing. If someone's, as far as integrity, it's interesting. I talk about this with my guys in the office, that if someone, you hear this every day, they don't have a card. Can I have your business card? No, I don't have it right now, but I'll email it to you. What does that mean? To me, that means, you know what? There's about I'm going to say a 98% chance I'm not going to get it. Just because then that is small. But whatever we do in a small way, we're doing in a big way, that's a lack of integrity. If someone says I'll email it to you and they don't, okay, that's a lack of integrity right there. Even in the secular rough and tumble world of commercial real estate in the Boston area, being honest is absolutely paramount to success. Being impeccably honest, doing what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to email it over, do it. And do it quickly. You say you're going to make a specific call to a specific individual, do it. So point one is obey the Lord in all ways and have impeccable integrity. Number 2 point, how to supercharge your life, is to create dynamic partnerships. Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. One of the speakers, Elena Cardone, Grant Cardone's wife at the 10X conference, who, by the way, says, support, she said very unapologetically, she said, support, she's not even a Christian, support your husband. She went on and on and on how she's different from her husband. As a woman, as a female, she supports her husband and she doesn't apologize, which I thought was terrific as a side point. But she, in her talk, talked about the principle of synergy. Those are two Clydesdales. One Clydesdale by itself can pull 8,000 pounds. Okay, 2 Clydesdales hooked together can tow 24,000 pounds. But what was interesting, and I never knew this, is that if those 2 Clydesdales are trained to work together, they can, instead of 24, they can pull 32,000 pounds. So one on its own is 8, another on its own is 8. So those are 8 plus 8 is 16. But if you train them together, they can do 32, which is insane. Okay, that's the principle of synergy. So creating dynamic partnerships. Stephen K. Scott, who is the author of 12 best-selling books, points out that if you want to, he actually used the word supercharged. He refers to it as a turbocharged car streaking down the highway. He said if you want to have jump frog your competition and go to a whole new level, you're going to have synergistic, symbiotic partnerships in place. As a subset of creating dynamic partners, it's very important to network constantly, whether it's in your specific trade area, at your church, I know James Gerard goes to the Burlington Rotary. Maybe, I don't know if you still do that, James, but he was talking about how he was getting all sorts of clients. Network. Okay, don't be lazy about it, but get out, shake hands, network. Woody Allen said 90% of it is simply just showing up. Number 3, way to supercharge your life is to, in all areas, is to stand on the shoulders of giants. Sir Isaac Newton in 1675 said, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. So he was giving credit to his forefathers and other individuals within his profession who had laid the groundwork before. Pablo Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. And we are not advocating stealing in this room tonight, but he was making a point, and that is that we're constantly learning, we're constantly observing, and we're constantly legally borrowing, if you will, great ideas. Those handsome young men right there, flanking a middle, that's my father, the late Robert Stubblebine, and that's James and myself several years ago. And so my dad used to say, if you're not losing any, you're not winning any. That was one of his quotes. And so to me, he was a giant. And as part of standing on the shoulders of giant, be a lifelong learner. Okay, I talked about this last year as well, but just to immerse yourself. We have at our company, we have a 3-month goal starting. It's January through March of reading 8 books, 4 of which can be audible. The others have to be actually read within a 3-month period, and you get is it $400 or $500? A $400 Amex card if that is completed, because we're seeking to foster a culture of education, learning, and getting to a new level. So my wife recently got a Peloton bike, and they have the rock and roll music playing, and you can get 80s or you can get soft rock or whatever you want to, with the person yelling out at you. So what I did, which is ridiculous, so what I did was I plugged it right in. So plugged in the earphones because I don't want to hear them, and then I'm listening to my my YouTube 10 ways to become more successful, or my Robert Kiyosaki, or my any of these guys, because I don't need to, or a sermon, okay? Because I don't need to hear the silly 1980s soft rock. So TED Talk, the Rich Dad Poor Dad's phenomenal. I used to, back before I was married and had 6 kids, tried to listen to a tape. I'm dating myself. A tape a day, literally a tape a day. That was either a sermon or it was some sort of a motivational guru. Okay, just constantly filling my mind. Instead of the 4.7. I mean, what's the easiest thing to do? Yeah, click on the TV for 4 hours, okay? Instead of doing that, I switched into a constant learning scenario, okay? So we are becoming a lifelong learner is absolutely critical as part of standing on the shoulders of giants. Next is tracking your progress in all areas. Okay, so you're going to look at this and you're going to say either that's the work of, what was the guy, the famous movie with, the genius guy who was in his room and he was writing, huh? No, not Rain Man. Maybe that too. What's it? Beautiful Mind. Either you're going to think it was a beautiful mind or something crazy, or et cetera, et cetera. But those are, Lana dug them up. And these were in our attic. And these are stacks and stacks of my journals and or sermon notebooks and or just notebooks where I observed when I went to seminars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Writing down, so that's from 1996. It was my spiritual goals, my mental, brokerage, investments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, just take it out, we took a copy. And that to the left is, I was telling you, I try to listen to a tape a day, so that's over about a 30-day period, and I wrote it all down, okay? Because I think tracking, I preach this to my guys all the time at the office, we track our cold calls. We track how many listings we're getting. We have a huge whiteboard, and everybody's writing down how many listings are we getting in the month of February, okay? I think tracking really helps, because what we do typically is we trick ourselves. We think, oh yeah, I'm working hard. Okay, what does that mean? I'm working hard? Okay, well how many, and then my next question is, well how many calls did you make? How many people did you actually get through to? How many meetings did you get? How many listings did you secure? Okay, because I'm working hard, that doesn't mean anything to me. The only way it translates into anything definitive is if we're tracking. So tracking helps in all areas. I no longer use the beat up Beautiful Minds notebooks. I now use, it's on my computer. So I have different categories for working out, for books read for the year, for sermon notes right here. Brian, is that okay? Is that disrespectful to do it on my phone? Et cetera, et cetera. But I'm constantly tracking because I need to hold myself accountable. Because I'm going to lie to myself. I'm going to. It helps dramatically to track everything we do. So it's number 4. Number 5 is to think outside the box. Okay. Einstein famously said, imagination is more important than knowledge. This could be applied to churches. This could be applied to precepts ministry, to refresh ministry, to somebody who's working out, somebody who wants to, in 1956, Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. The amazing thing about that is it had never been done. In recorded history, it had never been done. Once he did it, dozens and hundreds and thousands of people had broken the 4-minute mile. So it was they thought outside, it was thinking outside the box in a new way, thinking in new creative ways. Steve Jobs, if you've read it, that's a tremendous book, his biography, said that he never took surveys of customer service to figure out what people wanted, because he said, you know what, they don't even know what they want. No one thought of the iPhone with 100 different apps before it was even invented. He was able to invent something completely outside of the box. Okay? And it became, the greatest selling phone of history, and put Apple into stratospheric levels of success. So, don't conform to the status quo. Be innovative, be creative. Sam Zell, the great real estate investor based in Chicago, said, until then I hadn't recognized that my career was so radically different from the mainstream. I had thought I was just a little off center. I hadn't realized I was on a completely different road. My orientation toward being an outlier was going to define my future. I was going to do what I loved doing, and I wasn't going to be encumbered by anyone else's rules. He was thinking outside of the box. This is a famous book about 20 years ago, Who Moved My Cheese? Quick, fast, to the point, but it's about, if anyone's read the book, but it's about mice who, they're used to always getting their cheese in a certain way, and then when it was moved, they had to, most of the mice starved to death, and then the ones who were creative, who were innovative, who thought outside the box, were able to find a different way to get to it. So just doing the same thing over and over and over will get you the same results, and maybe less of a result as time goes by in our dynamic economy. Is that our kid tonight? Eric O'Brien, he was going to come. This was an example of completely thinking outside the box. This is a building we bought to the left in Acton. with James Stubblebine and my good friend Eric O'Brien. That's a nondescript 1950s or 60s flex office R&D industrial building to the left in Acton, right across from the post office. And my friend Eric said, guys, we should buy this and turn it into self-storage. I literally did not occur to me for a second, and I jumped on the bandwagon, and today we have 350 self-storage units. We're hitting it out of the park. Amazingly successful situation. That was thinking out of the box, and I will give him 1,000% of the credit. There was a time with my late dad, Father Robert Stubblebine, where he said we were struggling, and this was early in my career, and he said, you know what, we should focus on just industrial, because there's an ease of access to getting to the CFO, controller, principal, head of real estate at these companies that is not present with office users. And it was a brilliant idea. That thinking outside of the box idea was helps to catapult our firm to a much higher level. Number 6, way to jettison your career and supercharge your life and business is to set 10x goals and to think in a much higher way. Alana's Refresh Ministry, she has just hit it out of the box in a 10x way, and I'm so very proud of her. A good friend of mine who I met just very recently from the UK, overseas, is an evangelist. I think he's here tonight. James Sedaris lives in Lincoln, and he is an amazing big thinker. He was over in, I believe it was Pakistan 4 or 5 months ago. And he said, oh yeah, well I'm going to put on I'm an evangelist. I said, oh, what are you going to do? He said, well, I have a little crusade going on. I said, oh, tell me about it. He said, it's for 80,000 people over in Pakistan, which is a heavily guarded, militant Muslim area. He got in, okay, and his next, and we should all be praying about this, endeavor is in 2019, I think it's third quarter 2019, instead of 100,000 people, they're going to be speaking to 1 million people. So these principles are not just David Stubblebine business, go make a lot of money. This is applicable to all areas of our lives, including an incredible evangelist. I'm going to show this is a quick 2-minute clip of his most recent big thinking project overseas. Program that's going to be 24/7. He is on satellite, and he's here tonight. You can ask him about it, but it's going to be literally. He's in the UK. He's here in Boston. He's going to be literally. It's going to be a worldwide scenario. So again, What TV is just being started right now, and that is an example of really big thinking. Grant Cardone, 10X. Again, we went to his conference in Miami. Talks about the fact that humankind in general tends to set subpar goals. He says that you will either accomplish your own goals or the dreams will be used as a resource to accomplish someone else's. A very interesting concept. He says, if you're not setting 10x goals, if you're not setting very large goals and thinking big, who are you hurting? Right? Who are you not hiring? Who are you not helping? Who are you not giving money to that if you had a higher level of achievement, you would have the financial resources to give money to that person? It's a really interesting concept, and it goes right back to the principle of the talents, that if we're not using our gifts, talents, and again, we all have different levels of talent, but if we're not using our gifts, talents, and abilities to their fullest potential, who are we hurting? Who are we not helping? Who are we not giving money to that we would have otherwise? In my own, listening to him this a couple of years ago, we were talking about some of these principles at a New Year's Eve gathering we had at our house, and a light bulb went off in my own life that, I was setting my goals were too small. My goals were not big enough, and I talk about this with my board of directors at my company all the time, but I think it's human beings in general, you know what, on average, their goals are way too small. They're not too big, they're way too small, okay? The Sarah Blakely, we heard her speak also in Miami. She said, I see it over and over again, people not aiming high enough. Okay, so the problem is not setting goals that are too big. Really, the problem for most of it is we're not aiming high enough. Jim Rohn discusses the fact that the major reason for setting goals is not so much accomplishing it, or not so much becoming a millionaire or accomplishing that particular goal, but it's who the person you're going to become if you set that large goal. Okay, because you become more competent, confident, articulate, and you're helping that many more people. Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You think you're small, and you're going to have small goals, you're right. You're going to accomplish very small things. You think you can do much bigger things? Guess what? You're right, and you're going to do much bigger things. We're not getting into politics tonight, but Donald Trump famously said, I like thinking big, I always have. To me, it's very simple. If you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. T. Harv Eker, one of my favorite gurus in this arena, said that the definition of an entrepreneur is a person who solves a problem for people at a profit. Therefore, an entrepreneur is nothing more than a problem solver. Do you want to help more people or fewer people? If your answer is more, you need to decide to help massive numbers of people. The world does not need more people playing small. It's time to stop hiding and start stepping out. It's time to start using your gifts in a big way instead of hoarding them. It's time to start living our lives as entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, writers, mothers, fathers, and Christians in a big way. Let's not hoard our gifts. Let's not hoard our talents. Let's not be fearful. Okay, let's step into the unknown in a big way. Number 7, ways to supercharge our life is to get in the arena and take risks. The older gentleman on the right symbolizes the fact that many surveys have been taken of people in their 80s, in their mid to late 80s, and the most frequent answer, one of the most frequent answer to the question, how would you have lived your life differently, is, I wish I took more risks. Okay? But what a sad testimony for somebody to say that. So right now, most of us have, God willing, more years here on this earth than that individual on the right. Okay? Let's not be that guy. Let's not be that person. Teddy Roosevelt, president in the early 1900s, famously said, the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred with dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Great quote. Great quote. We can apply it as pastors, as missionaries, as evangelists going to Pakistan, as business people. That's a great quote for all of us. Ecclesiastes 5:3, for a dream comes through much activity, and a fool's voice is known by many words. Okay, so that speaks to getting in the arena. Okay, we need to get into the arena, which means activity, which means doing something instead of just talking idly. Proverbs 28:1, the wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. What a promise. Okay, so if you are righteous, if you are living a godly life, okay, you're going to be as bold, you have the ability to be as bold as a lion to move forward and maybe start a company, maybe take on a new partner, maybe hire new people that you were afraid of hiring, maybe buying that property, okay? You're going to be as bold as a lion. Some other very appropriate quotes, in my opinion. Tony Robbins, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably deal with. Ken Ligon, I'm reading his book right now, I Love Capitalism. The world belongs to risk takers. And he was incredible. You should read his book, it's amazing. I mean, he just took so many risks, put so many deals together. I mean, he said, when you're taking, you don't know what the ultimate outcome will be. You're risking your time, talent, treasure. Okay? World belongs to risk takers. Founder, one of the co-founders of Home Depot, Ray Kroc, where there's no risk, there could be no pride of achievement. If you're just given the $1 million, if you're just given the house without working for it, there's no pride in the achievement. Sarah Blakely, again, we heard her last weekend. She was terrific, the founder of Spanx. Her father used to say at the dinner table, what have you failed at today? Isn't that interesting? What have you failed at today? Instead of trying to constantly coddle our children, okay, and not allow them to take risks. She asked that very provocative question. Robert Allen, these are great quotes, I'm going to read them. Robert Allen, it takes courage to walk out of the world of security and into the world of risk, a world of opportunity and abundance, where the risks are great, the rewards are greater. Face your fear, you always find the best fishing holes in the places where the average fisherman is afraid to go. We do not have a shortage of opportunity in this country, we have a shortage of courage. The greatest dragon you will ever face is your own fear. The masses are always afraid, that leaves more for the few who dare. The lakes are teeming with fish. You just have to climb the cliffs to get to them. Where the risks are great, the rewards are greater. The world is governed by flat world concepts, scarcity. Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the runaway bestseller Rich Dad Poor Dad, says, if you're the kind of person who has no guts, you just give up every time life pushes you. If you're that kind of person, you'll live all your life playing it safe, doing the right things, saving yourself for some event that will never happen. Then you die a boring old man. You'll have a lot of friends who really like you because you were such a nice, hard-working guy. You spent a life playing it safe, doing the right things, but the truth is you let life push you into submission. Deep down, you were terrified of taking risk. You really wanted to win, but the fear of losing was greater than the excitement of winning. Deep inside, you and only you will know you didn't go for it. You chose to play it safe. Let's not be that guy. Let's not be that guy as a Christian. Okay, if we're going to share our faith. Okay, we're going to start in a church. We're going to start in a ministry. As a businessman, who's going to, maybe you can buy that property. And there's a little bit of vacancy. Okay, there's a little bit of vacancy, and you got to put out some money every month until you fill it up. Okay, I do that every day. All right, but then when it gets filled up, guess what? I just made a lot of money. And everyone said, and then the reaction might be, that guy's greedy, that guy's lucky. No, he isn't. He took the risk. All right, number 8, way to supercharge your life. Be an optimist. That's Sam Zeller read his book called Am I Too Subtle? Great book. As an entrepreneur, I am by nature an optimist. The word failure is not in my lexicon. I don't spend a lot of time lamenting on what could have been. Be enthusiastic. Enthusiasm means the God within. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. Be joyful, always pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances. And as part of being optimistic, we are getting, shedding, destroying, eliminating victimhood. We're not going to be a victim. We're not going to blame it on mom or dad or brother, sister, kids growing up. We are refusing to be a victim. We're going to stand sentinel at the doorway of our minds. hold one conscious thought at a time in our brains, and we're going to focus on Scripture. We're going to focus on our goals. We're going to focus on helping somebody else. Okay, by doing that, we can be an optimist, and we can be thankful about things. Okay, instead of being a whiner. And nobody wants to be around a whiner. Okay, they don't really care either. Guess what? They don't really care. They don't want to hear you, and they don't really care. So step up like a man. Put your britches on. Okay, or we're not going to be whiners. Brian Tracy talks about being solution-oriented. Okay, focusing on what you want and how to get it. Okay, as opposed to focusing on the problem. Okay, I've told you a few good scenarios, and this is a challenging situation in which my brother and I are currently involved. It's a sports center up in Middleton, Massachusetts, and we are, I gotta be an optimist. This is one of the most challenging situations I've ever encountered in my entire life, with partners fighting and lawsuits and just bad press and bad publicity and negative just overruns like you wouldn't believe. But we are constantly deciding we're optimists. We're going to turn this around. I don't allow our accountant. She tends to be on the negative side, and she'll start moaning about things. I'll say, you know what, you're not allowed to say that in this meeting. You're not allowed to say that right here, because our only mindset is, you know what, we're going to get through it. We're going to succeed, and we're going to somehow thank the good Lord, and we're trusting in Him. We're gonna make a way with this property. And I don't exactly know how. And we actually have a game plan right now, which is lining up very, very nicely. But that's it. I'm not gonna be a victim. And I say, hey, guess what? I signed up for this thing. I'm part of it. I signed up. Now we're gonna be solution oriented, and we're not gonna whine and cry. Okay, number 9, and this doesn't apply to everyone. Okay, if you're in business and if you want to get to the next level, I would encourage people to, and if somebody's a teacher and they're called to be a teacher, or they're simply a missionary, they want to keep you, that's great. Okay, so this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, but if you can be an owner, that's the famous quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki: employee, self-employed, business, and investment. Be an investor, and somehow, some way, if you want to get to a new level in business, you're going to own your own property, you're going to buy investment properties, you're going to invest in stocks, and you are somehow going to be an owner. Will help catapult you to a supercharged life in a new way. David Goggins, famous Navy SEAL, talks about jump number 10. Jump quickly on good ideas. When you find the right customer opportunity, cancel everything and make sure that you secure that customer or opportunity. This was an example of a building we bought in Wilmington, right off of Route 93, 88,000 square feet. And I was walking through with my brother and our partner, Boston-based, very large developer, and he said, you know what, guys, we got to buy this thing. And he was just laser focused. Again, I'm going to give him the credit, not myself. And he said, we got to buy this thing. We can do it. And then we very, very quickly jumped on the opportunity. Okay, we've been able to turn it around nicely, and we're doing very, very well with the building. So jumping, let's see, Sam Zell said timing and execution made all the difference. He was talking about one particular situation where he bought hundreds of radio stations. He said, we earned most of our money on the first 100 radio stations we bought. Why? Because after that, the rest of the industry caught up. Competition for stations increased and prices went up. It was the first major advantage. It was the first mover advantage that made J-Core, that was this particular radio station, a lead dog and a home run. Within 3 years, we went from 20 stations to 243. I find implications for opportunity everywhere in world events. And he reads a book a week, 5 newspapers a day, and like 10 magazines a week. It's insane, this particular guy, Sam Zell.
world events, economic news, conversations, but the first mover advantage requires conviction, while the rest of the radio industry was deliberating about what the telecom bill meant and how it would be implemented and whether it was a good change or a bad change. We moved and bought up every station we could find. So we moved very, very quickly. When you see something that makes sense, you jump on it very, very quickly. Okay? It is a proven fact that successful people make decisions quickly and change their minds rarely, and unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change their minds often. Famous book, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Sales, Frank Becker pointed out when you get a lead in sales, you very quickly jump on it. You move on it immediately, quickly. You don't let it set. Okay? You jump on things very quickly. Okay? James, when you meet the girl of your dreams, what do? Do you wait around? Huh? What do you do? Huh? My friend, you move and you move lightning fast. I know you. This was an example. Yeah, this is an example of jumping on something quickly. So we're building 650 self-storage units in Marlborough right now, and the window was closed. This is again with Eric O'Brien, who I wanted to applaud him and give him most of the credit here tonight. But we own the land, and the window was closing in the town because they didn't want to allow additional self-storage, and so we just got out the guns, got out the engines, and just went lightning fast. We were able to get it permitted, had to threaten the people that were going to sue them, et cetera, et cetera. That's a story for another day. But we were able to permit it, and we are beginning construction right now. But that's an example of jumping on opportunities very, very quickly. So in summary, and then of course Peter Daniels, I referred to him last year, do it now, do it now, do it now is his famous quote. He says it in the elevator every day when he's going up to his office 100 times. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Okay, as opposed to putting it off to later when it may or may not get done. Okay, if you see something that makes sense, you're going to jump on it lightning fast and push everything off to the side. But one of the key skills that I've learned in my business is to make decisions about what we should pursue and what we shouldn't pursue. And oftentimes there's sort of dead ends and rabbit trails that don't make sense. And then if something is hot, if something is potentially a lucrative scenario, then we get all the guns out and we pursue very diligently, very aggressively, and immediately. So to summarize, 10 ways to supercharge your life, your career, your business, okay, your relationships, be a Christian, obey the Lord in all ways, and have impeccable integrity. Number 2, create dynamic partnerships where there's synergy, there's a symbiotic situation. Okay, you are partnering with people who are maybe better than you at certain things. Okay, my brother and I go when we go after various listings. You know, it's interesting because sometimes they just want to talk to him. They're like, James is my guy. James is my guy. Okay, and other times they might gravitate toward me. So dynamic partnerships extremely important. 3, stand on the shoulders of giants. Who are the giants in your own life? Okay, who have gone before you? If you're in the videography business, if you're an evangelist like James Sedaris, if you are in sales like James Gerard or David Skinner, who are the giants before you? Who are you going to look to as a very, very successful person? And of course, part of that is to fully immerse yourself in the books and the CDs and the YouTube videos, et cetera, et cetera. Those are giants, and we can learn from them. 4thly, diligently track your progress in all areas. 5thly, think outside of the box. Be creative, be innovative. Imagination trumps knowledge, said Albert Einstein. Number 6, set 10x, extremely large goals, and think big. Number 7, get into the arena. Don't just be a talker. Don't just idly go on and on in an inane fashion. Instead, get into the arena and take risks. Be willing to take risks. Take smart risks, take calculated risks. Okay, we don't do stupid things, but take, if it makes sense, okay, and you understand it, and you're partnering with the right people, move forward. Number 8, be an optimist. Number 9, be an owner. And number 10, jump quickly on good ideas. Thank you all very much. Appreciate the opportunity.